Hello, it's Lucy and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be talking about the 10 things that I hate most about Northwestern University's computer science major. This isn't to say that I hate everything about the major, but there are definitely some things that need to be addressed. So let's get started. First, we need to talk about CS 111, Fundamentals of Computer Programming 1. It's the first class that you take as a computer science major here at Northwestern, and it's probably the most talked about and most hated class out of computer science majors. And the reason being is because it's taught in a language called Racket. And Racket is a programming language that was developed by some Northwestern University professor years ago, and it's still being used in our curriculum today, even though practically no other universities use this language, and it's pretty outdated. Most people have probably never used Racket in their life, even if they've been coding since elementary school. And that's a big reason why Northwestern chose Racket for their introductory level course. They claim that it levels out the playing field, making it more fair for people who don't know how to code. However, I believe the contrary. I think that because Racket is so unintuitive and hard to understand, it actually inhibits learning and makes it more difficult for new beginners to learn how to program. For those of you who don't know, I actually attended Cornell University my freshman year, and I entered college never having taken a single coding class, never written a single line of code, and so I started from the very beginning. And I actually fell in love with coding because my first programming language was taught in Python. I thought that it was so intuitive and so easy to learn that it just really boosted my learning. And it's the reason why I chose computer science as my major. To be honest, if I had taken CS 111 as my first ever computer science class, I probably wouldn't be a computer science major today. That leads me to my second reason why I hate Northwestern CS, and that's because I don't think the introductory level courses prepare you well for getting a job. And I realize that college isn't all about getting a job, but isn't it a nice benefit when it does? So I think I have a unique perspective because I took introductory level classes at both Cornell and Northwestern, so I'm able to compare between the two schools. And I really felt that my classes at Cornell really prepared me for getting internships, specifically in software engineering. For example, I took literally one computer science class in my entire life, coded up a bunch of different projects in that class, and then was able to put them on my resume and get 4 software engineering internship offers my freshman year, 2 of which I accepted, and it was just such a great start to my career. Meanwhile, I feel like if I had done the same thing, like applied to the same jobs, but have just done it all at Northwestern, I don't think I would have had those opportunities because I wouldn't have had those meaningful projects on my resume. So while I realize that college isn't all about getting a job, it is an important factor to a lot of people, and I think that Northwestern CS could do a better job of preparing students for getting internships and jobs earlier on in the curriculum. The third reason why I hate Northwestern CS is because the CS major is so long. There are 19 CS courses that you need to take and 5 related courses, totaling to 24 courses just to get a major in computer science. And that is extremely long, especially when you compare it to the math major, which only requires 9 courses to get the major. And so I definitely think that the CS major might be a little overkill. We have 5 core courses. We have to take 5 breadth courses, 6 technical electives, 2 project courses, and then a bunch of math requirements as well. And I personally can compare this to my experience at Cornell, and I don't remember the exact numbers, but I know there were definitely less CS courses that I needed to take at Cornell. So, I mean, if you're really interested in computer science and you just want to take a ton of courses, I mean, go for it. But it is definitely hard to fit in your schedule if you're trying to double or triple a major. The fourth reason why I hate Northwestern CS is that office hours take insanely long. And there are not enough office hours as well, but I will go and sit in office hours for 2 to 3 hours waiting for someone to get to me, and then they'll be like, sorry, we're done. We're already 1 hour past when we were supposed to end, so like we need to go home and eat and stuff, which is like totally reasonable. Like I feel bad for the PMs and the TAs who have to hold these long office hours, but as a student who's just trying to get help on their homework, it is really frustrating when you go to an office hour and you sit there for like 2 hours and then nobody gets to you. And I know a lot of teachers have been trying to make this better, like they've been having queues and different like wait lists and things like that, but honestly, it's still a major problem here, and this isn't something that's specific to one class. I've experienced this in almost every one of my classes. My fifth reason is that it's insanely hard to get into upper level classes, or at least good ones. So the way that registration works is you get to pre-reg for 2 classes, and pre-registration is usually reserved for CS majors, and then you get to register for 4 classes in total during normal registration, and then on the first day of classes you can add a 5th class. But essentially all of the good CS upper level classes fill up immediately, and it's really frustrating because like I'll have my whole schedule planned out with all the different times and everything lines up, and then I get to registration and they're all taken. And so especially for someone like me who is taking a lot of CS classes each quarter, like 4 to 5, it can be really hard to find a schedule that works for me, and to find classes I haven't already taken that fit in my schedule. So I definitely feel like professors either need to raise the class size limits or offer different times or something to accommodate these needs. The 6th reason is that some classes are so large that you literally need to grade your peers' work. So I'm in a class right now that enrolled an extra 100 students into the class than what was originally planned for. So the number of TAs and peer mentors didn't scale up to the size of the class. And because of that, now part of our grade is to grade other students' work. But it's like, I am taking this class because I want to learn about the class material. I don't want to spend a bunch of my time grading my peers' work when I could be learning more. So this is another huge problem, is that when you do open up more space, but you don't have the faculty present to like support that, then you run into these issues where learning is inhibited. So this is just, I think a huge part of this is also that there's just so many people interested in computer science, and I think there are more students than there are professors or classes to support the needs of the students. So yeah, definitely something that needs to be addressed. My 7th reason is that class sizes are so large that most of my professors don't even know my name. For example, I was giving a presentation in kind of like a science fair in the Northwestern CS department a few weeks ago, and one of my old professors walked up. I gave the presentation, he said good job, but he didn't even recognize me even though I had taken 2 of his classes last year. And I had gone to office hours, but he still didn't recognize me. And that's because a lot of the intro level classes and even the upper level classes are extremely large, ranging between like 40 to 200 students. So it's harder to make relationships with your professors when class sizes are so large, which also makes it harder to find research or just other opportunities to work with professors. So that's just another reason. The 8th reason is that a lot of the best CS professors have recently left Northwestern. We had one professor go to Jane Street, one professor go to MongoDB, another professor go to another university, and this means that a lot of their classes are either just handed off to professors who have to put together curriculum really fast, or the classes just aren't offered at all. Like, for example, one of the best professors, or at least the most liked by students, taught a web development course that was really practical and really helpful, and everyone loved the teacher and the class, but now it's just no longer offered because that professor left. So I think that this is definitely a problem, especially considering that we already are, I don't know if we're officially low on professors, but I would personally say we're low on professors based on my experience attending classes and trying to get attention during office hours. The 9th reason is that classes will require you to have extensive projects where you need to buy sensors or you need to buy cloud storage or things like that, but there's no funding for the students. So you're expected to pay for things out of your own pocket. And as someone who's on financial aid and doesn't have just a bunch of spare money to spend on class projects, this can be an issue. It's not in all classes, but it definitely happens in some classes. And I think that it's really unfair to students who are on financial aid or have, financial problems spending this kind of money on class projects when really this should be covered by the university or the professor teaching the class. So this is just another thing that I definitely think should be addressed. The 10th reason is that classes vary a lot in difficulty based on the professor who you take the class with. So you'll have classes with the easier professor filling up super fast and not having enough spots, and then classes with the harder professor like not filling up and not having a lot of students. And then this also leads to problems later on when that class is required as a prerequisite for subsequent courses. So then you might find yourself in a group project with students who took the classes with different professors, with different course curriculum and different grading scales, and some students might not be prepared for the subsequent classes that follow that prerequisite class. So those are all the things that I hate about Northwestern University Computer Science. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Bye!